So we continue hearing from the word of the Lord. Yesterday we talked about the Lord is my protector. On Monday we talked about the Lord is my refuge. Today we will talk about the Lord is my deliverer. The Lord is my deliverer. And the Bible says, as it has been read, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of all of them. So we'll go through many afflictions. Not that we are claiming to be righteous, but it's the righteousness of Jesus Christ. He's the one who has clothed us with his righteousness. So the Lord delivers us and rescues us from all our tribulations. God rescues us from our problems, whatever problems they may be. God rescues us from our enemies. And you know, sometimes when I say enemies, some people say, but mimi hakuna mtu tumekosana na yeye. But you know, sometimes there are people who hate you because of the way you have been blessed. You know, there are people who look at you and they see you have been blessed and they just hate you. The Lord rescues us from our criticizers. There are people who criticize you and there's nothing wrong you've done to them. They just criticize you. I tell people, mostly young people, but not only young people, that I wish people can stop posting their successes on social media. Like you are seeing, you know, you are starting a new business. Na unaipiga picha, unaweka social media. You think everybody wants the best for you. You are having a problem. And then you go ahead, you're putting your problem on social media. You think anybody cares? People don't care. And in fact, you might even be giving your criticizers a chance to celebrate. You see, your criticizers and even the devil, they can only work with the raw materials you give them. If you have not given them anything, they have nothing to celebrate with. But when you give them something, they have something to celebrate with. Some people even go ahead. There's a practice I'm seeing. So I think they are mosquitoes. Maybe it's my blood that I'm being bitten by small mosquitoes, but nobody else seems to be troubled by mosquitoes. Is it just me? Maybe it's something about me. They can tell that this is new blood at the coast. Anyway, we still proceed. The Lord will deliver me from the mosquitoes. So, thank you. This is better. So there's a practice that I see people doing. It really disturbs me. I'm seeing people nowadays, what they are doing. People even go to the extent of they are expecting a baby. And they are having what they call a gender reveal. And they even do it even live. You know, I really shake when I see people doing that. Like they are doing a gender reveal. People are taking baby bump photos, wakiwa naked. And they are putting it on social media. And sometimes I wonder, you know, I look and I ask myself, even from a cultural perspective, not even from a cultural perspective actually, but even when you read the book of, that should be the book of Exodus, the story of Moses, where the Bible records that when the parents realized, when they saw that he was a goodly child or he was a beautiful child, they hid that child. Because there was Pharaoh who was out there wanting to kill baby Moses. So the parents hid that child until they could not hide the child anymore. Then they took and still put him in a basket and put him in there. Didn't even hold that child. And they actually lost that child. You didn't see it? Social media, it happened. They lost the pregnancy. See, they were posting. They even removed the clothes and they are showing. And people kept on saying, unaringa sana, you will not even touch that child. And they actually lost that child. And when they lost the child, people were celebrating. You know, it's really hard. But I just wonder, it's not that I'm blaming the victim, but I'm wondering, there are some spaces that are very sacred. Especially when you talk about a child being carried in the womb, it's very sacred because you know the devil is definitely attacking, you know, whatever is coming, the fruit of the womb. Imagine, for me, when I was expecting my children, I just realized that I never took any photo when I was expectant. I'm not saying you don't take a photo, but personally, I never took any photo. Like 1 or 2 of the children, my family didn't even know I was expecting. They just learned when I delivered, is when I said there's a baby. And my sister said, but we spoke yesterday. You didn't tell me you are expectant and you're telling me there's a baby. How am I supposed to trust you? I said I did not think I need to talk about it because of the circumstances of the pregnancy. Well, I'm not saying you don't talk about it, but the point I'm saying is sometimes you even go into sacred spaces exposing sacred things. Some people even go, you see people have gotten married. I'm talking about the Lord being your deliverer and us giving our criticizers and the enemy a chance. Some people even get married and they are posting their life on Facebook every day. You know, whatever they are doing, they are posting it on Facebook. Every day they are posting it. And I keep on wondering, don't you think you're giving the devil, you're giving your criticizers a chance? Because people live life privately. You don't live life publicly. So now you are living this life publicly to everybody to see. I said the devil or your criticizers, they can only use the raw materials that you give them because they have no capacity to know some of the things that you're actually giving them. And it's not everybody. Most people would not even be happy. There's a lot of bitterness out there. But the Lord has promised that he will deliver you from your criticizers. God will rescue you even from your negative emotions. Are you having fear? Are you having sorrow? Are you having loneliness? Are you having resentment? Are you having pain? The Lord is going to deliver you from all this, whatever you are experiencing. And I believe that any time, at any one point, we are struggling with something and the Lord will deliver us. And the Bible says in the book of Psalms chapter 17, verse 8 to 9, keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me under the shadow of your wings from the wicked who oppress me, from my deadly enemies who surround me. That is a prayer of David, that the Lord will deliver you. I don't know what experience you may be having that you have gone through. If we are to remember, all of us will remember an experience we have been through. And surely you have been delivered and you can look back and say, were it not for the Lord, I would not have been here where I am today. I believe each and every one of us, if you are old enough, you know that were it not for the Lord, you would be dead right now. I remember in the year 2012, I was expecting my last born son, and I had a mission to go to Turkana. I went to Turkana, and when I went there, accommodation was a problem. There was one guest house that is a Catholic-run guest house, and I went there and we were begging for accommodation. You know, all along when I used to say, oh, they are worshiping the Mary, I don't know, the Rosary, I don't know. But that time, let me tell you, I was so desperate to get a place to sleep. I just said, even put me to sleep next to the Rosary and I'll sleep. I just need a place to sleep. I was so desperate. I didn't get a place to sleep because the guest house was fully booked. So we slept. And I remember I slept, we were a number of us, even male and female colleagues. We slept in the car. So I was asking at some point, and I've not even showered. There's no water to shower. They said, you are talking about water to shower. People are talking about water to drink. And you are talking about water to shower. We are thinking of water to drink. And that is when I realized that I'm used to showering twice a day. But there we stayed 3-4 days, no showering. And they said, we're worried about smelling, as we are worried about thirst. So we stayed. Then on the day we are meant to travel from Turkana, we were in a government vehicle. Then the vehicle left us, I think, somewhere around Kitale or Eldoret. I don't remember, Kitale, let's say. Then we were meant to take a PSV to Nairobi. So we took a PSV. I really wanted to get back home because I'd been through a hard time that week. I was even expectant. So I'm really longing to get back home. But I realized this vehicle was very slow. It was coming very slowly. And I'm like, what time am I going to arrive in Nairobi if the vehicle is coming so slowly? So we got to Eldoret, then the vehicle stops for us to buy something to eat. It's in the evening. And the driver is taking time. And I was among the people who were really complaining to the driver, like, why are you delaying us so much? We need to get home. Anyway, we complained. By the time we left Eldoret, I slept. It was late, maybe 8, maybe 9. So I slept. So I slept, and then suddenly I was walking by, shout and screaming. So I woke up, I'm trying to look what's happening. Then I'm looking outside the vehicle. We were somewhere around Limuru. Don't remember the exact place, but somewhere around there. I'm looking outside, and then I'm seeing a pool of blood outside. Pool of blood. So I'm saying, what happened? What happened? Then I was told that there was a vehicle that was just ahead of us. It had come, they had found us in Eldoret. Then they went very fast. They left us still parked. And I kept on saying, do I leave this one? I get into this one because I want to go home, So this vehicle was just ahead of us. So the vehicle had come ahead, then it had gone head-on collision with a trailer that was coming. And almost everybody in that matatu perished. That's why the blood outside there. I'm telling you, I was so terrified because we were just a whisker away from being the one. I mean, that was the accident that was meant to, our vehicle was meant to get into that accident, because legitimately we were ahead of this matatu. And I'm not saying the ones who were in that matatu were not praying. And I really am not saying that I prayed. I'm saying that I complained. I really complained. I said, we are getting delayed. So imagine this matatu, they just overtook us because they took a shorter time to stop. So it just hit, that trailer hit head on. So I came to Nairobi. I was so terrified. So I'm getting home at about 10, 11. Anyway, I found my family. So I remember I shared this experience with my children. Then my son asked me, at the time he was maybe 5 going to 6. Then he asked me, if you were going to die, where were we going to bury you? I said, you would bury me, at your home now, of course, where I'm married. He said, no, but that's not your home. We cannot bury you at our father's home. That's not your home. So then he said, no, that's not your home. I said, yeah, that's where you're going to bury me. Then he looked at me and asked, do mothers die? Do mothers die? I said, mothers die. He said, but if mothers die, how do children survive? How can children survive without a mother? I said, yes, mothers die sadly. Then he said, Mommy, let me tell you, if you are going to die, I was going to cry for the rest of my life. I would never keep quiet if you died. That experience shook me. It really shook me. And I said, despite all my complaints, like I kept on saying, we should go fast, we should go fast. Sometimes delays, you can see delays, but the Lord is delivering you. And you are here trying to hurry, even in life. Sometimes some of you could be young people. You are looking forward to getting a marriage partner. And you are in a hurry, And then you are seeing somebody unataka tu kupita na yeye. Because you are saying, now me, if I delay my biological clock, I don't know, I'm hitting 30, I'm hitting 35, I'm hitting 40. And you're just rushing. And the Lord is trying to deliver you from a heartbreak. Then you are rushing, you're saying, but if I leave this one, who am I going to get? And then you're even getting a job, and you're being told to do all manner of unethical things to get the job. And you're like, me, I really need this job. So I'm going to do what it takes. And the Lord is trying to deliver you. If you have prayed and you have trusted in the Lord, stop fighting. Let the Lord have his way, because he's trying to deliver you. A certain widow in the Nyanza region bribed for the money for the son to be during the KDF recruitment. We were told this story by one of the pastors who was the president of the West Kenya Union. This widow, they were recruiting KDF, and the widow had a son. She really wanted her son to get the job. So she sold land, her piece of land, because she knew she'll sell the piece of land, bribe, because they needed some good amount, maybe $500,000. She said, I'll sell it, bribe. My son will get a job, he will buy land, okay? So she sold the land, bribed. So the son went for recruitment. You see the way sometimes people go for recruitment, washaamua who they are taking. So her, she knew, they are just going for formality, kukimbia kwa kiwanja, but the son has the job. Imagine when the son was running, he collapsed and he died at the field, I'm telling you. So the lady was mourning. So the pastor went to comfort her. But he noticed that there was something, because this lady was inconsolable and she was really weeping. And the pastor felt like, is there something I need to know? You know, there's a way somebody can weep and you're like, yeah, I understand they have lost a child, but there's something I need to know. So the pastor said, is there something else you need to tell me? And then the widow said, yes. What is hurting me the most is that I sold land to bribe. I knew very well what I was doing is wrong. So the part that is killing me is I have sold land, I have no land. I have bribed, and I knew I was in contravention of God's commandments. Now my son has died. I've lost money, my salvation. At the point, of course, she can recover, but she was saying it's very hard. I've denied my salvation. I've lost my son. I have no land. You see? So sometimes we don't want to let God have his way, because God is trying to deliver you. You know, sometimes as parents, you want your child to go to a top school. Sindio, si kuna those schools that you really want your son to go to. You want your son to, not just your son, your child. I'm saying son because my children, mostly they are sons. You want your child to go to a certain school. And you go to the ministry and someone tells you, utawekelea to 50,000 so that your child can go to that school. Imagine you go ahead, you do everything, you borrow, you beg, you steal if you need to, you bribe for your son to go to that school, and then you're here praying that the Lord will bless your child to excel. Conflict. I'm not saying your child is not going to excel, but I'm saying yourself, you are living in conflict. Sometimes we may not see right now, we may not see, but there are many things that there are delays, but the Lord is trying to deliver you. I don't know where you are right now, and you want to have your way. Sometimes you just want to have a way. You do everything possible. Some people just do anything. They're like, hey, me, I just want this child. Me, you know, like the story of Sarah and Abraham. Me, I just want this. I just want the other. And you just want to do no matter. You don't even take time. Sometimes it's like we are afraid to take time to pray. You know, like, God, are you really giving me this, or is it me having my way? You are afraid because you just say, I don't even want to pray, because if I pray, the Lord may show me differently. But you don't realize that even as you proceed to do it, God was trying to deliver you from something. And when you go right there, you actually know. You just say, you know, God was trying to speak to me. But at that time, I just needed it. And it's like we look at the short, how do I want to say it? We don't look at the bigger picture. You know, sometimes tunaangalia tu, kama binadamu, we are challenged. We just look, we see here. And we think, me, I'm just getting it. This is what I'm getting. And it's working. You think it's working. But I want to tell you, in life, it will always be equalized. Whatever you get, if you don't take time, it won't take long. You're actually going to, later on down the road, we are going to suffer downstream. In the Bible, we have the story of Rahab and the spies. I want us to learn a few lessons on divine deliverance from the story of Rahab and the spies. Open your Bibles, the book of Joshua, chapter 2. Joshua chapter 2. And this is the story of Rahab. Remember the two spies. I will read a few verses. You can read the entire chapter later during your own time, but I'm going to read a few verses. The story of Rahab and the spies. You remember the two spies? Verse 1 says, and Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went, and they came into a harlot's house. The harlot was named Rahab, and they lodged there. It was very strategic because this is a house of a harlot. So obviously, if people see men going into the house of a harlot, it's no surprise, because that's the work that she does anyway. you can imagine if she was a married woman, men would not be going to her house. If she was just any respectable lady, men would not go to her house. But they went to a harlot's house. When they went there, the harlot actually hid them. So they could not be found because she hid them and she lied on their behalf so that they can be safe. And I will read verse 15 where she let them down by a rope through the window. For her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. So the house of the harlot was upon the wall. So she let them out. She had hid them. She let them out, and they were able to get on the other side. The house of the harlot was very strategic. You know, a harlot has to be very strategic so that she's able to receive men from this side and from that side. So you know the story of border towns. If you see one of the things you know about towns that are at the border, there is usually a lot of prostitution that happens, a lot of sex work that happens in border town, because people can get, partners from either side. For example, one of the counties that is leading in HIV, I'm digressing, is Homa Bay County. You know, Homa Bay County is leading with HIV. And the distance between Homa Bay and Kisii is like this. You just cross from Kisii County, you cross over to Homa Bay County. But on this side, which is Kisii County, the HIV prevalence rate is like 4%, something like maybe 4 out of 10 people. Yeah, it's like 4%. No, it's not 4 out of 10. Let me say 4 out of 100 people in Kisii, they are HIV positive. But you cross over to Homa Bay, 20 out of 100 people are HIV positive. That's a big difference. And yet the only thing separating Homa Bay and Kisii is just a border. You just walk from Kisii to Homa Bay, but border town. So most of the border town you will see, there's a lot that happens. Even the border town from Uganda to Kenya, Kenya to Tanzania, on the border, there's so much that happens, you know. So this woman, her house there was at the border. It was at the wall. So she was able to throw a rope and they were able to go to the other side. I'm going somewhere with what I've just shared with you. Verse 18, when the men were able to escape, she pleaded. She told them that even when they are going to come to destroy Jericho, she pleaded, she asked them to not to kill her and her parents and even her siblings. Verse 18 says, behold, when we come into the So she asked them to promise her that she's going to keep, they are going to be safe, Rahab and her family. And from what Rahab tells her, you will see when you read that chapter, is that she had actually heard. She had heard about what the Lord had enabled the Israelites to do. She was a harlot, and yet she knew about the power of God. And they tell her in verse 18, behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which you did let us down by, and you shall bring your father and your mother and your brethren and all your father's household home unto you. And they promised her that they are not going to kill her and her household. And when the Israelites eventually destroyed Jericho, it's only Rahab and her family that remained. And they remained, and eventually Rahab married a man by the name Salmon, who was a relative of Caleb. And eventually Rahab is one of the ancestors. She's mentioned in the lineage of Jesus Christ. And sometimes, you know, when you look at it and you're asking, this is a harlot, you know, it's one thing when men look down upon women. But when women look down upon fellow women, that is something else, especially when that woman is a harlot. I don't know if we are seated here in the church, this is AWM Emphasis Week, then a woman who is known to be a harlot walks in. How will you, you will try and see, you'll even put your bag next to you so that she doesn't sit next to you, isn't it? Because when she's a harlot, a self-proclaimed harlot, she will dress like a harlot. Because every time she dresses and she acts, she's acting in a way to seduce someone, obviously, because that is her daily trade. So this is the woman, she ends up actually belonging to the lineage of Jesus Christ. And this woman, with all her harlotry, she's even the one who rescues the spies. So God uses her to deliver the spies, the 2 spies that were sent by Joshua. I have looked at this chapter, I have looked and relooked it. I was reflecting on how the Lord delivered them. And the Lord could have used many ways to give them victory over Jericho. He could have used so many, but he chose to deliver them through this harlot, this woman who is a harlot. And later on, as we have seen, the woman gains a unique place in the Jewish history. And it was only she and her family that survived. So I want to draw some lessons that I will share with us, how the Lord delivers us. And one of the lessons that I draw from the story of Rahab, the prostitute, is that God uses human beings to deliver us. God can send his angels. He can even come from heaven to deliver us. But while we are on this earth, the Lord uses human beings to deliver us. That's why us as a people, as Christians, as a church, when we only pray for people and we tell them that may the Lord come through for you, sometimes I wonder, don't we realize that we are God's eyes, we are God's feet, we are God's hands? He has put us so that we can meet the needs of our fellow human beings. Christ and Christ's method alone, because Christ met the needs of the people. You know, many times as Adventists, I think we spend so much time praying and talking about helping people as opposed to helping them. Let me give you an example of something that I've shared before. There is a church called Christ is the Answer Ministries. This church, they have invested heavily in the ministry of children. First, they run excellent schools for the young children. Every holiday, they have what they call VBS, DVBS, Vocational Bible School. And what they do during that VBS, parents don't contribute anything. So they have set money aside. They have qualified, competent children teachers, spirit-filled, and then they prepare snacks for the children. They provide transport. So the vehicles go around the estates picking children for free. So like you are here, you will see the vehicle they have advertised. The vehicle passes at 7:30. They were passing in my village. And I was staying deep in the village. And the bus comes at 7:30, around that time, picks the children. They take them for VBS. They give them snacks. They teach them all the materials and they bring them back home. How better can it get? Instead of you having your child staying home watching TV and everything, yani you have Christians who are willing to pick your child. Who can resist that? Now for us, what we do, there is a cost to it, and yet during camp meetings, people don't pay for camp meeting. See, anybody can come for camp meeting. And these are adults who have heard the message. If they were to be converted, they would have been converted by now. And then we have children who are getting lost into internet addiction, pornography, masturbation. And we are making it so hard for them to come. So we put a charge to it. And then even the charge we put could even be 1,000. People don't even pay. They don't want to pay, even the ones who can afford. They don't even want to pay. And you are being begged and pleaded to bring your child for VBS. And then if we provide snacks, they have to pay for them. And they have to bring themselves. Do you see how difficult we are making it? And then we are using our money for open door evangelistic campaigns, making noise to people in the market. Who cares? I'm selling my things. Who cares? Making noise to people on the road. That is where we are spending our money. And then we are losing this young generation where we have the great opportunity to shape destiny. We are losing it, waiting for them to start taking drugs, then follow them in the marketplace where they are drunk. That's when you want to do an evangelistic campaign, raising millions of money. How are our priorities, people? How are our priorities? upside down. And then these children, and the Lord is using people. I'm saying the Lord uses people to deliver others. And then in the schools where our children may be going to get education, our schools are a sad story. I cannot even open that Pandora box because I've been a parent. I am still a parent of Adventist education, and I just want to cry. If I say that, I will cry and I won't continue. Let me stop there. But now, you are trying even as a parent, but it becomes very difficult. So we are not catching them when they are young, when they are very malleable. So if my child, for example, they are struggling to attend our VBS, I'm not able to take them. And the CHURCH-MOMBASA is coming, God bless them. They are coming and they're just at the gate. My child just needs to enter. They will go have tea, have snacks, be taught, come home. What will make me as a parent not to take them? Then later, I'm telling this child, we are the remnant church, and we have the truth, and I don't know what. Does that make sense? Because my child will ask me, how has that truth changed you? How has that truth changed you? I don't understand that truth. You know, it doesn't make sense because God uses people to deliver others, and God can use anything. If you look at people and you're thinking they're lost, you could be the one who is lost. I told you at my very point of need, I just needed a place to sleep. It didn't matter where it was. Me, I was going to sleep. And sometimes that's why I tell Adventists, wacha kushout. Mambo ya beast, wacha kushout. Wacha kushout sana mambo ya beast. A day will come, like what happened in Nairobi when our women ministry, they were going to Isiolo, they got an accident. Women from one of the churches, they got an accident in Isiolo Road. They were brought to Nairobi. They were being taken to a Catholic hospital, and they were told, you call us the beast. Why are you coming here to be treated by the beast? I was told this by a pastor. They were told, but you have been preaching, shouting, calling us the beast. And you're bringing your people here, so you take them to your hospital. And our hospital, Nairobi Adventist Hospital, it's a sad story. Premium tears. So they had to beg and plead. We are pleading with the beast, quote unquote. We are pleading with the beast to treat our women who are dying because they have been involved in an accident. And here we are shouting, showing even complete pictures of how they are the beast that is coming from the sea. I don't know what that is anyway. So now, and God is using people. God uses people. God wants to use you. And sometimes even help, I go to the next point. Help comes from an unlikely place. Imagine this help came from a very unlikely place. Rahab the harlot, because it was so convenient. The men could just walk into a harlot's house and the harlot could open. Other people could not open. You see, the harlot, the house was at the wall. So she knew that the Israelites, any man of any tribe, any nationality, bore a pesa. So the harlot, these men could come in and clearly they are not her people. She'll welcome them because the currency is money. It's not about who you are, but no other person could have opened for the spies. But the harlot, it's open door policy. So they were able to actually get in. That is a very unlikely place because you would have said they are going to contaminate themselves in the house of a harlot where several men have come in, but they were saved by the harlot, strategically placed. So help comes from an unlikely place. Sometimes you can be looking at somebody, you are like, who you? This one. But wait until the day you are in need. You will be so shocked where the help is going to come from. You get so shocked. Never look down upon anybody. Even if you just feel like you're Bible believing, you have memorized the entire spirit of prophecy, you are heaven going, you are even a vegan, even if somebody used a spoon to serve chicken, you can even fight if they want to use that spoon on your skuma wiki. You are so offended because you know they will not be translated to go to heaven because they have come in contact with flesh. You know, so you think that way and you're looking at them, you just never know. Help comes from the most unlikely place. And as I said, we wish that Jesus' lineage was noble people. They were not. That is a reality. We know that. Now, the third lesson that I want to share. So the first one I said, God uses human beings. So I pray that the Lord may use us. And I said, number 2, help comes from the most unlikely source. Most unlikely source. So for me, if you tell me my child is going to go somewhere, be taught and not be at home on TV or on video, on whatever, my child will go there because they are going to benefit at the end of the day. Number 3, being a believer does not exempt you from tribulations. As I said, tribulations make us humble. The Lord could have delivered the Israelites in many ways, including raining fire from heaven to destroy the entire city of Jericho. He could have done that, but he didn't. It had to be a process. So many times you can be praying that the Lord delivers you miraculously. Maybe he can, and I know he's capable. But I want to tell you that you're not exempt from tribulations. One of the pastors that I hold in very high regard, so this pastor, I just ministered with him, and when I came back home after a few months, I was told the wife has died while giving birth to the 5th child. So they had 4 young children, relatively young. So the wife was giving birth to the 5th child, and she died, and the child survived. So this man of God has been left with 5 children. I took my phone, I looked at his number, I wanted to send him a message. I had nothing to send. I had nothing to say, because I know this man loves his wife so dearly. Yani ya ukweli, wachana na hii ingine ya social media. He loves the wife like for real. And even you see, sometimes even when someone is talking fondly about the partner, look at how the partner is responding. There are people who can be saying, oh, this is my lovely wife, and the wife is looking like, get out of here. She's just